I never thought a bouquet of roses would end up being the most painful thing I'd ever hold in my hands. That night, I wanted to surprise my wife. We had been married for 7 years, and though work had kept me busy, I always tried to make time to remind her she was loved. It wasn't our anniversary, it wasn't her birthday, just a random evening where I wanted to walk in with flowers, kiss her forehead, and tell her I was grateful. But the surprise I walked into shattered everything I believed about love, loyalty, and marriage. I pulled into the driveway earlier than usual. My heart raced with excitement as I pictured her smile when I walked in holding those roses. The house was quiet, too quiet, but I brushed it off as her probably reading a book or watching a show with the lights dimmed. I pushed the door open softly, planning to sneak in and catch her off guard. That's when I heard it, a muffled laugh, followed by a voice I instantly knew didn't belong to me. I froze in the hallway. My wife's voice floated out, playful, lighter than it had been with me in months. Stop. Someone might come home, she whispered, followed by another laugh. My heart dropped into my stomach. The roses trembled in my hand, petals brushing against my palm as if mocking me. I stepped forward, and when I turned the corner into the living room, my world cracked open. There she was, my wife, on the couch with another man, their bodies tangled in the kind of intimacy that once belonged only to us. He scrambled to grab his shirt, eyes wide, while she gasped and tried to push him away, her face painted with guilt. Time slowed down. The flowers slipped from my hand and hit the floor, scattering across the carpet like broken pieces of trust. At first, I couldn't even speak. My chest tightened, my throat closed, and all I could manage was, why? That single word carried every ounce of pain, disbelief, and betrayal I felt. She stuttered, trying to explain, but the excuses sounded hollow against the echo of what I had just witnessed. The confrontation escalated quickly. He stood up, trying to act tough, as if he had any right to be in my home. Calm down, man. It's not what it looks like, he muttered, which only fueled my rage. Not what it looks like. My wife sat there, half covered, tears forming in her eyes, and this stranger had the audacity to pretend it wasn't real. I stepped forward, my hands clenched into fists, but I stopped myself. Hitting him wouldn't heal the betrayal. Hurting him wouldn't undo what she chose to do. Instead, I turned to her, my voice breaking. You invited him into our home. Into our marriage. Into my life. Do you even realize what you've destroyed? She cried harder, begging me to listen, saying it was a mistake, saying she felt neglected, saying she didn't know how to tell me she was unhappy. But all I heard was selfishness. If she was unhappy, she could have spoken up. She could have chosen honesty. Instead, she chose to humiliate me in the cruelest way possible. The man grabbed his things and rushed out, leaving the two of us alone in the heavy silence. I looked at her, the woman I once promised forever to, and saw nothing but a stranger. I couldn't stay. That night, I packed a bag and walked out. She chased me to the door, grabbing my arm, sobbing that she still loved me, that it was just a mistake. But love doesn't betray. Love doesn't sneak around in the dark. The weeks that followed were brutal. Divorce papers were drawn up, and every day felt like I was drowning in anger, grief, and shame. People talk about heartbreak as if it's just sadness, but it's so much more. It's the shattering of identity, the questioning of your worth, the sleepless nights where you replay every memory wondering where you went wrong. But slowly, I began to realize something important. Her choices were not a reflection of my worth. Her betrayal was about her weakness, not my failure as a husband. I started going to the gym, not out of vanity, but to work through the rage and clear my mind. I spent more time with friends who reminded me of who I was before the marriage. I leaned on family who told me that healing wasn't about forgetting, but about choosing myself again. And day by day, the pain loosened its grip. Months later, she reached out. She wanted to talk, to see if we could rebuild. She told me she regretted everything and that she realized too late what she had lost. I listened, but I didn't waver. The man I was when I walked into that living room with roses had died that night. What survived was someone stronger, someone who refused to settle for lies dressed up as love. So I told her no. Not out of spite, not out of revenge, but because I finally understood that true love isn't about clinging to someone who broke you, it's about respecting yourself enough to walk away. I left her behind, Not with hate, but with the strength to build a life where trust, respect, and honesty weren't optional. In the end, the brutal confrontation that destroyed my marriage also gave me clarity. It taught me that sometimes the most painful endings are the ones that free you. And while I'll never forget that night, I no longer see it as the moment I lost everything. I see it as the moment I finally found myself.